everybody, and welcome to the Scoop and Trudy Show. I am Scoop, and
I am Trudy. Okay.
So
I can't help that.
So let's start by saying this. So this is what, week 5? We are doing awesome. We've actually made it to 5 weeks. Give us ups, kudos, high five.
All right. Okay. And I certainly want to take this moment right now to thank all of the family for the good wishes and well wishes that they've spread around. I got more calls from anybody that I've ever done almost, So it was a good feeling.
Where'd you get calls from, Miss Trudy? Who
for my
called you?
accident yesterday, I managed to total one side of my car and no one got hurt.
Oh.
But it sounded kind of bad, and it's going to feel worse when I get the bill. But no one got hurt, and I got so many well wishes by phone, by texting, by email. So I just want to thank everyone who was concerned, and thank you very much for your support.
Well, thank God that you're fine and that your passenger was fine and that you both walked away.
Yeah.
So that's my...
Tony J was with me.
Okay. And Miss Tony's fine?
Tony's fine, yeah.
Okay, interesting. You say Tony J. I was at a show and her son was there.
Oh.
I met her son when I did your Philly Cam show, and I was literally sitting next to him for a good hour, and he had a camera and he was doing video, and he looked up and somebody said something, and I gave one of the other photographers my business card to send me photos, and I gave him my card, and he was like, "Hey, I'm Tony J's son," and I was like, "Oops." Oops.
Well, that happens a lot.
How is it that you've been standing next to me all this time and didn't recognize me?
And how is it she has this great, wonderful son who hasn't been taking pictures for me? Wait till I get hold of her. Anyway.
Well, one thing for certain, too, for sure, I've found that most of the people who are in media and entertainment and photography, they wear maybe 3 or 4 different hats. They do That's many true. Different things.
Well, we have to.
Mm-hmm.
To survive.
Yeah.
I will survive. Anyway, the paper today has a lot of people that I admire.
Thursday.
On the front page. On Martin.
Yeah, Thera Martin.
Thera Martin is someone that I've admired for many, many years, and she's doing a beautiful job in the column, and now she's honored, and that's great to see her along with all of these wonderful people, Donna Brazil and you, and I missed it.
Well.
And then right under that, someone who's been around a long time, and I knew her husband, Janie Blackwell. City Councilwoman Janie Blackwell. She's been on it, and all of your page looks so alive with personalities and people who are doing things in the community, people we should know and be very proud of. And I think it's a nice.
Thank you for saying that I'm alive this week. I've been.
No, I didn't say that.
No, because I can say it. No,
alive.
It does. It looks very much alive, and it's probably because for the past 3 or 4 weeks, I was dealing more with history, and while the pictures were lively, there were some areas that one might consider kind of dark because we're talking about, issues that are hard for people to sometimes deal with, But this week,
everybody should be looking at this because there's so many people here.
Oh no, this week was
important, and you must know somebody who knows somebody. If nothing else,
this past week was a great week because it was a chance for me to look at each week, each thing is a lesson to me. And when I took from the events that I went to this week was endurance, sticking in there and fighting and doing right regardless of what it is that's in front of you. Look at this picture of Janie Blackwell on the front. The story behind this is she's been wanting this building for her husband for 18 years.
Lucian.
So imagine she is council person, somebody who you would view in the city as being a powerful individual, and it's taken 18 years for her to get a building. Yeah. So it shows that you have to be able to stay. Exactly.
And
so and
keeping alive your dream.
Thera, the same thing. She's been writing columns and doing radio and other things, and she's now viewed as an all-star media. She received an award from the NAACP. So it's dedication and just proving and saying that you got to do the work. As I say every morning, I get up, and regardless how life looks or what it looks like, what do I say, Shorty? I just get up and do the work. I just go.
Just keep pushing.
I just go. I don't worry about the bills. It's the money's going to make it. Things is going to be fine, but I got to get the paper out. That's all I say.
Well,
you got to tell your mailbox story one day.
Oh.
Well, we can save that for Comedy Hour.
That's a depressing thing. It's very depressing to me. We will never talk about the mailbox. Never.
one thing I hope that we do today, too, is to urge people to get out and vote. I know that sounds a little mundane. Everyone is saying it, but it is so important, folks. And I just kind of wrote down a couple of ways that if you're thinking or not thinking about it, what you should be thinking about is how you're going to get there and when you're going to get there. And just one thing I'd like to urge is people to look over the ballot the night before, because there are a lot of questions on that ballot that need your attention. And I think it would be good if you don't wait until you get in the booth. What's happening? What are they talking about? Just kind of look it over the night before if you can. And start on, maybe you can make it so you can go vote early instead of later, before you go to work instead of when you come home, because then the lines are longer and you're tired. So, and remember to take your own ID. Now, a lot of places we don't need it, but some places may be a little ticklish and want to see an ID. So take your ID. It doesn't weigh that much to take it along. And another suggestion, go with someone.
You know what's interesting while you're talking about voting? I need to give a moment of thanks, because we live in Philadelphia and we live in a state where we're not in a situation where people are trying to prevent us from voting. Well, you know, there are several states, and this is something that Ms. Brazil spoke about, and how in several states throughout the nation, there are trickery and things being put in place to keep people from voting. And as I said, maybe 3 weeks ago, it's very interesting that years ago people were fighting to vote, and now we're fighting to get them to vote. But the reality is that some of the things that were in place, and Thera spoke about it in her column this week too, 50 some odd years ago, to keep people from being able to vote.
That's right, and they're still doing it in some places. So, and
it started again. It's beginning again, and we're in a situation where we have that freedom. We can walk into a poll. We can vote. Nobody has anything holding it.
And if you don't vote, choke.
No, we're not going to say that. We're not going to say choke.
If you don't vote,
we're not
choke, because it's a duty and a privilege. Two good reasons why you should take advantage of it, and that's the way I feel about it.
Oh, Miss Trudy.
I'm sorry. I mean, you've got to put some oomph in getting out there to vote. A lot of people say, I don't need to, but you do need to, because it's both a privilege, an opportunity, and a duty. You owe it to yourself and those around you. I'm sorry.
All right. But choking is not nice.
Choking is not nice. Who said it was nice? Who said it's supposed to be nice? We don't want you out there and vote. No.
We don't want that to happen. We want people to
get out and vote.
No, we want them to understand the value of voting and take it serious enough that they do it, and they do it, and they do it because they know it's the right thing to do.
It's not a melody.
It is.
It's a must. You must get out. It's a duty. It's a duty to yourself and to your children. I'm going to let you go, but I'm not saying choke. We're going to go and come back.
I'm vote for Shorty. Got my vote.
No,
So we're back.
We're back.
And
I'm going to have a party.
And we were talking, so the discussion about voting is something that's near and dear to our hearts. I'm sure that you know by now. And we were thinking maybe that it's been about 5 weeks, and I've been looking and thinking, and I'm like, who listens to us? Do we know if anybody's listening or not?
Yes, I've had a couple of comments. Mm-hmm. Yes, I have.
So with that said, we're going to open the call line and see if people want to talk to us about voting. So the number to call in is 888-329-3306. So if you want to talk, fine. If not, we're going to keep doing what we do. and have our conversation about what's going on with us and voting and how we want to move things forward with Scoop and Trudy.
Well, I like you. You get things started now.
You know
So
what?
you're
You
talking
can't.
about
You
having
can't.
people respond, and right away,
It happens. It happens. We ain't got time for that. It's 2 more weeks before the election. If we're going to get some people fired up, we need to do it. Because you was fired up a couple minutes ago.
Oh, yes. I'm very serious about that. And I'm very serious about getting your flu shots, too.
Oh,
That's
you know what? I just thought to
thing.
myself, I've been avoiding my doctor, and I need to go
come
get my
on.
shot.
If you don't set examples. I mean, did you get your shot?
Nope.
Well,
No, now, see-
I'm normally a really good person, and I go get it. But I've been running so much. And,
Okay,
and I know
that's
my
what
doctor's
everyone
gonna
says.
say
And the
something.
other half of the people, they say that they don't want to get it because it makes you sick.
Oh, no, I don't get sick.
Well, let's see. There has been a reaction, I guess, to some people getting something put in their bodies that they're not used to. However, it does not give you the flu.
Mm-hmm.
It does not give you the flu. And then each year you have to get a different strain. You get a shot because there are different strains every year. And that's why some people say, I had it last year. No. Every year it's different. So you have to get a new flu shot. And the most important thing is that you're not just getting it for yourself, but for the safety of those around you, in your family, and even your pets. They even get flu. So take care of yourself. I mean, if you don't do it, who's going to do it? I know you're going to say God.
Oh, no. No, I normally get one every year, and I have to get one because I'm not in a position where I can afford to be ill. So I know it. I just haven't.
And you got children. You got a family.
Oh, no,
you
they've
got
had their
people.
flu shots
Oh,
already. I'm the only person who didn't get theirs.
Shame on you. No, get your flu shot.
the only person
Stop
who hasn't
fooling
been to the
around. You
doctor.
can go anywhere and get it free.
No, I only go to my doctor.
Okay, all right, you do. But anyway, you can go anywhere and get a flu shot.
I only go to my doctor, and I
Okay.
go and I get a whole physical. This is that time of year that I have to see
That's
my
all right.
favorite person.
They can get it on the corner at the drugstore. Okay? And it's free, ladies and gentlemen.
Just don't get it on the street corner.
Don't get it on
That's not a flu shot.
And take it in the arm, okay? Where you're supposed to. Okay, so much for flu. 2 things you got to do, flu and vote. Get your flu shot and vote.
So listen, this weekend coming up is something very interesting coming on. There's a church in Cherry Hill, and they're having a day promoted to W.E.B. Du Bois. Yep, so they have a whole thing. It's in the paper, and it's actually happening Sunday, the 21st.
Okay.
So people who are historians, who know history and know the impact of people, I believe, based on what I've been reading, he was somebody who was very instrumental, even to the extent that Martin Luther King viewed him and spoke about him often, about his
I think he did a
contributions.
lot of things in communication also. So we certainly will take that in advisement to be there.
And I have to mention, there's a young man who's writing for my paper, and I need to mention him because, and you'll find this very interesting. He's incarcerated. He has, he said, I believe, like 3 or 4 years left. And he wrote me, and he called, and he asked if he can write a column to communicate the things that he's learned from being incarcerated.
Oh, that should be very
And,
interesting. How
so
about inviting him up? when
He's
he comes out?
incarcerated.
Yeah.
It's going to be a few years.
Oh, he's going to have to finish the 4 years, huh?
Yeah, but he wrote for me. This is his second time, and we had a conversation a few weeks back, and I asked him to specifically write something to me as a message to our youth. I am really, really concerned about a lot of the things that are happening with our youth, the violence and the direction that they're going in, and being raised in the inner city and knowing where things can go and actually seeing how things have ended for some people. I am near and dear to my heart is something that I think we really need to focus on. So I asked him, and he wrote this nice letter, and it's entitled "Letter to My Young Boy," which of course is our language, you know, youth language, young boy, but it's a really good column.
Oh,
and I gave him his feature,
that.
and I actually put it online so that people can read it, because he's doing this and he's so excited about sharing and writing and helping other people to see the energy that goes into making that transition and doing something that you
You
view
know,
as
I'm glad
good.
you did that, because we're so accustomed to pointing out people who are not doing well and who are on the wrong side,
Well,
instead of those who are on doing things and on a better side and improving themselves. So that's good.
one thing I can say for certain is being a product of the system of North Philly, of being a part of what it is. There are several people who you view as being on the wrong side, and they may be the best people, have the biggest heart. It's circumstances that put you in certain
That's true.
situations, and it's your way of responding. It doesn't have to say that it's the right way or the wrong. It's the way that you responded because of your situation. So when I look at, for instance, my brother in the situation that he's been in and out of his life, as well as me, you know, it's not so much that he's a bad person. They aren't really bad people. I know people who have,
No, they're not born bad.
no one's born bad.
Yeah.
No kid says at 6, 7, 8, 9 that I want to go to jail.
No.
No one does that. But when you're faced with certain situations and you faced with a decision, you know, when somebody says, which door are you going through, A or B, and they both look the same, what door do you choose? And you choose the one that you think is the right one, and sometimes you choose the wrong one. And unfortunately, sometimes it's hard to come back from that. But for those of us, such as this young man, who has found and do understand some of the things that they've done, you know, and want to go back and do good, you know, thank you for them, because that's a life learning
And you
lesson.
know what? You find a lot of hidden talent in many people who have not had the chance to express themselves, or to have an open door, or welcoming mat, so that they can come in and do something.
A
I
prime
found a lot
example
of
is the arts program.
Yes.
They have a program in which they help people who have been
And
in
I hear it a lot
situations grow.
in the spoken word. I didn't used to pay attention to that, but now I'm beginning to understand some of the hidden talent in the spoken word. It's spontaneous, and it's creative, and I'm beginning to appreciate it much more. I thought everything, because I come from the old school, and everything has to be black or white. You know,
There's a whole bunch of gray in between.
yeah, there's a lot of gray, and most of it is where you can do the best things, because in the gray group, they're hungry for guidance. You know, if you're black or white, you know which way you're going, down or up. But here is a group of people who are kind of lost, looking for an opportunity.
I don't know if I would say lost. The gray area is
Well, I don't care
gray.
what you say. I say they're kind of lost. So,
Okay. We'll be back then.
you're pointing to me, Shorty. What do you got?
And
what
we're
are you
back.
coming out with? We're back. Hi, folks. Hi, family. And I'm okay. And again, I want to thank all of you who sent in well wishes for my recovery, which was mostly mental and emotional, because I was pretty upset. It scared the death out of me, really. And because I had a person in the car with me who narrowly escaped the puncture, which took out the whole back seat window.
Oh, wow.
Something that was sticking out. Well, let me tell you what it was. It was a car that was pulling 4 trailers that carry the boats that practice on the Schuylkill.
Oh, wow.
See,
Okay.
and they place them on these
On the skid, so to say.
platforms or whatever you call them, but they're out of metal, and they stick out because of the way the boats are shaped. And they didn't have any boats on them, thank God. It might have slipped down and we would have gone for a boat ride. But anyway, it happened, and I saw the truck pass. But because they're linked at the bottom of the truck, I didn't see the things that were up higher from my side.
Oh,
And
wow.
by the time I started to move on, I had my blinker on, I had my safety thing on, but I didn't see them in the back. And when I turned to go into that lane, when I thought he was clear, they were there.
Oh, wow.
You know? And so when I by the time I turned back around, the whole thing had been scraped, the whole side.
Okay.
So that's what happened. But fortunately, no one was hurt.
Oh, wow.
So you never know what's going to happen to you from day to day. And I know you have some wise wisdom things to say about from day to day. Since you faced it.
No, I don't have anything to say about from day to day. I'm not going to say anything about from day to day.
Okay. But what is today? What are we doing?
Well, we want to talk a little about this fashion show. Can we do that?
Sure. I love fashion.
So
in fact,
I went to a
ahead.
fashion show on Sunday. It was a beautiful fashion show, and the young lady
She didn't invite us, Shorty.
The young lady, well, it was part of my work. It's not.
Well, all of this is work.
Everything is work.
Let's get this straight. What we both do, we enjoy doing. I don't look at it as it work for me.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I worry Shorty to death because I want to do everything. I want to do a lot of things. I still feel invigorated, and despite my age, I still want to be there when things are happening, and I want to keep going that way. So it's not work, it's pleasure, and it's food. It's food, delightful food that I want to get into everybody's business.
Well, I understand exactly what you're saying, but see, with a couple of differences, I've only been doing this for a year. So, and I'm building a business with maybe 3 or 4 companies, and I'm exchanging information. I'm doing videos. So it, to me, is
exciting.
It's very exciting, but it's work. Why? Because I am not just doing it because I want to be in people's business. I'm doing it because I need to save a company, build a company,
and build an empire.
It's
challenging.
Yes, it's definitely work, and everything that I do is because I need to be visible. I need to be a part of. I need to be seen. I need to make sure that my paper is seen, heard, and that we get
read.
Yes, everything. So when I go to events, I love this young lady to death because I've met her and she encouraged me. She's a spiritual person. When I first met her, she said to me, "You need to get an app." That was in June. And did I get my app in September? So she pushed me. And in doing that, while she was doing that, she was doing all of these other things herself. She has a show. She's on Philly Cam. She has her fashion live.
Which one is she?
She's the young lady.
What's her name?
Her name is Zarina. I call her Z.
And what show does he do? Because I'm right there and I don't know.
I don't actually. Here, let's see. I don't know.
Well, anyway, the fashion show you went to.
Yeah, the Philly Fashion Live. I think that's the name of her show.
Okay.
But she had this fashion show, and she brought all of these people from New York and other people, Philly, and they all did their show. But in the middle of the show, she, of course, has a mission because she's God-fearing. She's a faith person. And part of her show was not just focused on fashion, but also focused on life. And she had a segment where people came with portraits of youth who've been deceased, murdered.
Oh, my.
In the past 6 months,
powerful.
The past year. And there were maybe 20, 30 people who walked up with photos. And you can feel the tension and the hurt and the pain in the room. And it was so powerful. And it took a lot for her to do that because, she knows some of these people. So to be able to use that platform. Some of the victims,
you mean, yeah.
To use that platform to, of course, present her show, but also to do good and present the impact that this has on the youth. Because we think about it, you see it everywhere else, but you never really get to the point of how it hurts them.
You always think it's not going to happen to me.
I don't think that. It's happened to me one time too many.
Yeah, well, we're sorry about that. But, you know, when you listen to some of the comments from some of the victims, survivors, they're always saying, I never thought it would happen to me. I never thought it would happen to my child. I never thought it would happen in my block. That happens so often. And we're seldom prepared for something like that happening to you or to be real.
Yeah. So I think in this day and age, and we'll be closing with this, one of the things that we do think, and it's not so much that we don't think it will happen to us, we pray that it doesn't happen to us. because it's so likely that you may end up in a situation yourself, an innocent person nowadays who gets caught in the crossfire and ends up being hurt. So it's not so much that we don't think it will, but we pray that it won't. So we're going to close on that and close with the hope and prayer that we see everyone next week. And thank you again for having us. I'm Scoop.
And I'm Trudy.
Bye.
God bless.